This is my first ever live stream. I'm trying to figure out the video and stuff. I just wanted to chat for just a little bit about our preparations for Winter Storm Fern, I believe is what I'm naming this storm. It sounds like it's going to be epic. It keeps changing. I've just had this nervousness about this storm all week. We've been preparing like crazy to get everything ready. We've got more animals than what we've had in the past to deal with winter weather, and this storm with the temperatures expected to stay like 10 degrees or less for the next week is just, it's a lot. So I'll tell you what we've been doing. First of all, we made sure to order extra hay. We've got plenty of hay for the animals. And so we've got 8 cows, 8 head of cattle, I guess is the proper way of stating that. We've got 5 alpacas. We've got 10 kuni pigs and a bunch of chickens and a few ducks. And I think we have 7 or 8 peacocks out in our peacock palace. So I'll start with the chickens and the peacocks. In the past, we've had a greenhouse for them to go into that kept them warm and dry. But this past November, we had an awful snowstorm that came through and dumped 5 inches of heavy snow. And I was sick at the time and didn't realize what was going on outside. And combined with the rain, not the rain, sorry, the wind, it just collapsed in the middle of the night. So we woke up to basically a flat greenhouse. And so we don't have that option to put the chickens and the peacocks in this year. That's always done really well. It kept them dry, kept them out of the wind. So this year they're having to rough it outside. So I have several, we call them pigloos. They're like the dog igloos that we use for our pigs, but the pigs are in the barn right now. And so we're using those in the chicken coop. They are down on the ground. I've got 3 of them. We stuff them full of straw and put them in a sheltered area, and along with a couple of bales of straw to help block the wind. And most of the chickens go inside. Some of them cluster together along the side of the barn, and then the rest of them perch up on the rafters of the peacock palace. That's what we call it. It's kind of a big enclosure for the peacocks. Unfortunately, the peacocks only like to roost up high, and so we haven't really been able to make much of a shelter for them. So they perch close together and use their body heat. They are somewhat sheltered from the wind with the barn that's on the west side. So so far so good. Everybody looked good. We keep their water clean. We've got they're kind of metal tubs on top of a heated surface, and that keeps the water from freezing. And you got to fill it. We fill it up twice a day, and we also have a kind of a pool in there, but the pool does not have any way of staying thawed, so it does freeze over. Sometimes we can flip it over and knock the ice out and refill it, but with this weather, it's kind of just fruitless to do that. So moving on to the pigs, we've got 10 kuni pigs. We've got 5 piglets, 2 that are, excuse me, is that right? 6. We have 9 kuni pigs. I'm sorry, I miscounted. We've got 2, the sow and the boar that are parents to the rest of them. 2 of the piglets are a year old, so they're really not, they're about mid-size kunis. And then the rest of them are about 12 weeks old, and all of them are in the barn. I've got a divider between the boar and the sow. They're together, and the rest of them are together on the other side of the divider. And They're out of the nasty weather. They're kept at, I don't know, it's probably right at 32 degrees because their water hasn't frozen yet. But with it being so cold outside, I can't imagine it's much warmer than that. The 32 degrees, yeah, I'm thankful that the waters in the barn aren't freezing with the 0 degrees temperatures that we've got. Actually, I just looked at my refrigerator. It says it's 7 degrees outside right now. So we've got 7 degrees, but it looks like it's heading down to 0 and sub-zero overnight. We're in Indiana, central Indiana, and we're expected to get about 6 inches of snow, but it keeps changing. It was somewhere between 0 to 10 inches earlier today. Now they've settled on 6 inches. I suppose the reporting is going to be more accurate the longer it goes. So I've never done a live stream, so I'm not really sure how to check comments if anybody comments. I'll be happy. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But if you don't have any questions and you're just watching, I'll just keep rattling on. So let me continue with the coonies. We feed them. We've got straw in there for their bedding, and they're kind of cute. They like to remodel and move their straw bedding around. I'll see them walking around with mouthfuls of straw and putting them where they want the straw to be. And but they're very friendly animals, easy to take care of. And our piglets are for sale if anybody is interested. We've got 5 beautiful little coonies, super friendly. They're very socialized with people. We pet them every time we go in and take care of them. So moving on to the cows, we've got 2 bottle calves that we feed twice a day. Each calf, let's see, they're probably, I want to say they're probably 5 weeks old at this point in time. They're probably close to 200 pounds a piece. They get 2, what are they, the bottle size? I want to say they're half gallons of milk replacer twice a day. So each calf gets 2 bottles, and then they have choice fresh water and choice calf, what's it called? Not chow, starter, calf chow starter, I think is what we feed them in the trough. So they kind of nose around in there when they get hungry, but they're still mainly on the milk. I'm not sure when we'll start weaning them. It probably won't be before a couple weeks yet, so I'll let you know. But they are gaining weight really well. They're doing really well, and they did kind of have the cough and a little bit of scours when we got them, because they weren't born on our farm. We bought them from some Amish people that don't live too far from here. And then the rest of the cows, we did allow them access to the barn while it's so cold. So they have hung out outside for the most part, but I told you earlier that we got 15 bales of the large bales of hay. And so we put out 3 bales for them as a wind block and for them to kind of nibble on while they're outside. And then, like I said, they've got access to come in and out. And we do feed some grain to them in the winter. In the summer, they're on grass. And then in the winter, we add supplemental grain. And then, so they seem to be doing well. And then the alpacas, we ended up putting our livestock trailer close to them since we had so many animals in the barn. And I stuffed the livestock trailer full of their hay and some straw, so they are able to hop in and out of the livestock trailer to get out of the snow and out of the wind. which they do. They go in and out. But to be honest with you, the alpacas do prefer being outside. They've got wonderful, thick fiber to keep them warm, and they don't show signs of cold stress. So we give them fresh water twice a day. We give them alpaca pellets. I can't, Mazuma, I think that's the name of the alpaca pellets that we use. We get it from Family Farm and Home, and they seem to be doing fine. We do have a couple call ducks that are free ranging it right now because they would have been in the greenhouse, but like I said, the greenhouse was collapsed in November, and I was a little intimidated with putting them in with the peacock in the peacock palace with all the other chickens and things because they I really like the call ducks, and I was afraid that they might get bullied in there. So they're just kind of free ranging it, and they're doing okay. If something scares them, they take off flying, but they have returned, and we put out a little bit of food and water for them as well. And we do have the reservoir not too far behind us, and I'm sure they know it's there, but it's got 6 inches of ice on it. So I guess it wouldn't be any good for them to go over to the reservoir because there's no access to water there. So they get water when we give it to them. And like when we overfill the livestock tank and stuff. Oh, and that's another thing for the cows. We had a small heated tub that we used. It wasn't small. It was like 60 gallon. It was one of the green heated water totes, and they would just drink it so fast. And so we ended up investing in 2 of the tank, what do I want to call them? The tank warmers. They're like these round things. You plug them in, you drop them into the tank. There's a better name for them than tank warmers, but water tank warmer. I can't remember. But anyway, we ended up using 2 because it's so cold that one wasn't keeping up. So we have this huge livestock water tank. I don't know, 200 gallon. Does that sound right? Maybe 300, 400, I don't know. It's large. You could fit a couple people in it. It's pretty big, but one wasn't cutting it with this cold weather. So we ended up adding a second one to it. And that is keeping the water from forming ice on the top. So we drop 2 of the warmers into the big livestock tank. We keep the other one, the smaller green one, filled, and then we do feed the cattle feed out in some buckets in the one of the paddocks. We're trying to minimize traffic up by the barn because it gets so muddy. I never appreciated how messy cows were. I thought the alpacas were kind of bad, but the cows are bad. They will destroy the ground so fast in the winter. And then in the spring when it's muddy, they ruin everything pretty much. Let's see. So I've covered the alpacas, the ducks, the chickens, the peacocks, the cows, and the pigs. So I think that's it. So we have a generator for our house, and I noticed on every Monday, it's supposed to turn on and do a warm up, I guess, and just a test run to make sure it's working okay. And this past Monday, it didn't go off. And so we had our Generac person come and take a look at it, and he's like, it's losing oil. He had done some maintenance on it a couple weeks ago and said it was losing oil a little bit, but he's like, if you guys lose power, it's not going to make it. It's losing oil relatively quickly. So luckily we had an extra generator laying around, and not really. I mean, we have plans for that generator, but luckily we had it on site, and he had time to come yesterday and swap it out for us. That was kind of an awful experience just because it was 6 degrees outside and just absolutely miserable weather to be outside. But he was wonderful and got that generator swapped out for us. And then we're going to rebuild the old generator because they sell these rebuild kits for the motors, and we'll use that one somewhere else on our property. But yay, we have a good brand new generator to get us through this storm. And the only thing that we have to worry about now is if we run out of power, if we're down longer than 2 days, then we'll have to worry about getting more gas or propane for it. So, but that was kind of a relief for us. And then the third thing I wanted to talk about was we had recently gotten these halo collars, is what they're called, for our dogs. And these collars, I had put off training the dogs with them. We have a Chow and an Alaskan Malamute. And the Chow, I'm pretty certain, I'm not sure how well he's going to tolerate or obey the halo collar, but the Alaskan Malamute, I think, will do well on it. But my one issue is, seems like every time it snows, it must be his favorite weather, and he just gets this wild hair and takes off. There's a little space in the fence that he can fit through, and he just takes off. And the last time he did that, he was down the road at the stop sign, which was about 3/4 of a mile away. And some nice stranger picked him up, and he has his name and our telephone number on his tag. And she called and asked if we were Theo's mommy, or if I was Theo's mommy. And I said, yes, howdy, where's Theo? And so she brought him back to me. And so we've been keeping a good eye on him. And I keep thinking he's got it down. He's good. He hasn't tried to escape the backyard anymore with this collar on. I'm not blaming the collar at all. I'm blaming me being excited to use the collar, and he's not quite completely collar trained yet. But so tonight I put him out so he could run around and go to the bathroom with the collar on, and he escaped. And luckily I had the collar on him, and I grabbed my phone, pulled up the app, and I was able to track him. It was wonderful. Our property backs up to a reservoir, and he had gone all the way back to the reservoir, and there's a trail that goes along the reservoir, which he's been on a few times. And so he was on the trail. I could see him where he'd been and where he was headed. And so I hopped in my vehicle. I drove down to the next road, and I met him on the bridge. I could see that that's where he was on the app. And when I turned, my headlights hit him, and I pulled up a little bit, and he didn't know it was me. He takes off back down the trail. I pull over, I hop out. I'm like hollering, Theo, Theo, to get him to come to me. And he didn't, but I still had him on the app. It stayed connected to him. And I was able to see that it looked like he was trying to get back home. But then I think he heard me, and he stopped, and then he slowly came back to me. And finally, like, it was starting to snow, and he is a white dog, so he wasn't super easy to see. And finally I was able to see him, and I called him. I was like, hey, let's go for a ride, go back home. I went over, he just sat down. Like he was living the life. Like, he really enjoyed being outside. But I went over to him, grabbed his collar, and pulled him and put him in the vehicle, and off we went back home. So it was wonderful. I told my husband, I'm super overjoyed. This has been wonderful. It's been a wonderful experience to, I guess, to have him get lost with the collar on versus without the collar, because without the collar, it takes like a half an hour to an hour to find him sometimes. And with the collar, 5 minutes. I had him in the car in 5 minutes. It was so wonderful. And I wasn't worried. I could see exactly where he was. So thank you to the people at Halo Collar. Oh, that was a godsend. So I think I've said everything I wanted to say. I don't see any questions that anybody has. And I just wish everybody the best with this storm. I hope everybody is prepared. I know there's this feeling of anxiousness and excitement and anticipation when storms like these come through. And I don't know if it's the hype that you hear on TV or if it's the feeling of the pressure system that comes through. It just kind of gives you a sensation of, I guess it's just a sensation of anticipation. So I am hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. And hopefully everybody else is doing the same out there. Thanks for listening to me. And again, prayers to everybody out there for safety during this storm. I know our church service was canceled tomorrow due to the expected snowstorm and just terrible weather coming the next day or two. So, again, I wish everybody the best. This is Candace from the Brick House, and I am trying. Thank you for bearing with me for my first live stream. I'm not a very good public speaker. I've always dreaded speaking in public. I cannot tell you how much I dread speaking in public, but I am trying to push myself to do things, to do new things. So I am recommitting to my YouTube channel. I guess that's another thing that this YouTube channel, the Brick House. My goal with it is to try to find my niche. I think it's a lifestyle YouTube channel. I've just got so many things that I want to share with people. I love the fact that people share the things that they've learned and how-to videos. YouTube is generally my first place to go when I'm trying to look how to do something, whether it's fixing, I don't know, my dishwasher or my washing machine. I think the other day I was trying to figure out how to drain the water pump on the washing machine. So I was able to look up a video and drain it so that it would work better. And so what I'm getting at is I appreciate all the effort that other people put into sharing their experiences and their how-to videos. And I'm hoping that I can do the same. I've got a couple videos that I've already done about, one was how to ship something large that didn't weigh very much. And the other one was just going through my receipts and returning things after a DIY project and saving extra money that way. I know a lot of people will just throw their extra stuff away or put it in the corner and not try to get their money back. But so I've got those two. And then also we've got a rental, and the Brick House is actually an Airbnb that we have. And we have been working for the last couple of years to fix it up. I've currently got it rented out to somebody long-term, but when they are finished with their job that's keeping them in the Brick House, I'm going to post it again on Airbnb. And so I will probably do little videos here and there about how I clean it, how I schedule to have people stay there, how I do maintenance. There's all kinds of things. So I've got that. I've got our farm and the farm projects that we've got going on. And there's various things here and there and everywhere, I think, that I want to do videos on. So it's I'm trying to find my niche, I guess. And also just have videos that can be helpful to people. So if anybody has any advice, I'd appreciate it. I appreciate any constructive criticism that you have. And anyway, like and subscribe to the Brick House, and best wishes to everyone out there for this storm.